Owning a time machine to go back in time and fix all your problems seems like a dream come true for a lot of us. I mean, I myself am a fan of Doctor Who and Back to the Future, but is it realistic? Or even a good idea? The first thing we have to consider when we think about time travel in the real world is how does it work? For example, if I travel back in time to redo a test, do I become past me? Or do I or is there just past me and future me at the same time? Because that would just be confusing. It gets even worse when you think about traveling forwards in time. I mean, if I do become the me from that time, then how do I gain the knowledge of future me? Or do I just keep my knowledge now, despite being in the future, and everyone thinks I know what I know in the future? It's confusing. We also have to think about how you try to travel. Like, is it aliens? Do you have to go a certain speed? Is it a device? How do you power it? How easy is it to get power? I mean, if we're going off of Back to the Future, I don't know about, like, other countries, but in the UK, it's quite hard to get a hold of uranium. I don't know why that is. But let's say, by some miracle, you manage to create a time machine. You also have to think about violent militaries, even like the US government. Not necessarily like Russia or North Korea. Even the US government would probably want to take you. Take your machine at least, and do you really want to be like interrogated on how it works, how you get power, all that? Because I don't. Now, I'm not even going to get started on paradoxes, because that's, I mean, the easiest thing to think about. I mean, a paradox, you know. But if you do want a good example of a paradox that is it shows why you shouldn't time travel, I recommend the grandfather paradox. Essentially, I go back in time to kill my granddad, so I'm never born, so I can never go back in time, so I am born, and that just loops and loops. Now for this next section I had some very long and very scientific thing that I found on Wikipedia, but I cannot remember the line well enough to say it, so essentially, if we go faster than light, then we can technically time travel to the past. Professor Ron Mallett believes that he has created time travel. It's based on Einstein's theory of special relativity, where essentially time is based on an object's speed. Time accelerates or decelerates based on the object's speed. So, if you're in space and you go faster than light, if you just travel for less than a week, 10 years, according to the theory, 10 years will have passed on Earth, meaning technically you will have time traveled. I will leave a link to the article in the description if you do want to read more on it, by the way. But imagine if this works. Imagine the power that governments could have. Let's say there's nuclear war. All the governments, all the rich people can pay to hop inside a thing. They time travel they pack 3 weeks of supplies, they time travel for 3 weeks, boom, 30 years have passed. That's not fair. I mean, yes, technically, maybe if there is a war, they might let people on, but are they really gonna do that? I mean, think. When people see profit, they profit. And saving yourself from nuclear weaponry is something that a lot of people would be willing to pay for. Goodbye.